Hi, I'm Dan. This is Vinyl Fury, and I am snowed in for the second day in a row, so it's time to do another video. One of, I think, many that I have in the works because I have just kept coming home with more records. I've been having really good luck in like the discount bins of a couple of my favorite stores. I pulled out some very interesting stuff I'd never heard of, so it's turned out to be very much worth it to go dig around lately. But today is more than discount finds, including a couple that I've been looking for quite some time, including this. This is the album from Mogwai called Happy Songs for Happy People. This came out in 2003, and I had it on CD way back then. Thing is, I pulled that out a few years back and noticed that the readable side was just covered in this, I think you'd call it a crystalline pattern, all these circles and shapes, as if it was intentional. Like it looked like a design, but the CD was not readable anymore. So I picked it up used, I think sometime last year, to give it a shot again, and it was the same thing. The exact same thing happened. And I've read on comments on Discogs that it's happened to other people too. So something with the glue in it or something. CD was just toast, which is very unfortunate. And I looked at reissues of this in the past. There have been a couple. And then I came across an original pressing, and it was $35. I was hesitant, but again, I've never seen this in the wild. That seemed to be the going rate about on Discogs, so gave it a shot. It was a bit dirty, very dusty, some fingerprints and stuff. Luckily, I do have that Record Doctor 6 machine, and this is one of the first ones I cleaned. It definitely helped, but side B was significantly off center, which was a real bummer, because with this kind of music, this ambient post-rock, quiet, loud stuff, elongated notes, you're going to hear that. So I've listed it for sale, and I'll keep looking into a reissue that I might get for around the same price, because apparently the last reissue of it was quite good. So it's good to hear this record again. Unfortunately, this copy just didn't work out. And this one I've definitely been looking for quite some time. This is the self-titled album from Jaco Pastorius, jazz bassist, 1976 on CBS. And I saw this at the same store a few months back. And at the time, I had other places to go afterward. I didn't have anywhere to keep it, store it safely, so I couldn't pick it up then. And then next time I went, it wasn't there, of course. But same store, I think a few weeks ago, I found another one. So this was only $18, and it seemed like it was in pretty decent shape. I think it's a 70s reissue, maybe early 80s. I'm not exactly sure, but it was a great copy for less than $20. And this version seems to go for $30 to $50 on Discogs, apparently. So definitely a good deal. And of course, it's a wonderful album. Herbie Hancock is also really great on this. Finally got one. I came across Star People from Miles Davis from 1983. Definitely hadn't heard much, maybe not anything, from Miles Davis in the 80s. There's 2 or 3 albums from the 80s that I see now and again, and I've never picked them up. But this looked interesting, so I tried it out. It was only $12. It was a very clean copy, and really, really cool album. Bill Evans, Marcus Miller on bass, John Scofield on guitar. Definitely more, this is definitely not Kind of Blue Miles Davis. Electric, great bass lines, blues vibes, all around, just very interesting jazz fusion, I guess. And on the last track of the first side, I was like, did this get quieter? And then I realized the album's almost an hour long on one record, so yeah, that makes sense. But still sounded pretty good. Now this I did pull from the discount bin at that same store. It's called Little Axe in Portland. And I've pulled out some great stuff from the new arrival discount. Rock and jazz, whatever. So this band is called Inventions, and this is self-titled from 2014 on Temporary Residence. I think it was still an open shrink because I have the hype sticker. So it's a duo, Matthew Cooper, who I think is a local ambient musician, producer, and Mark Smith from Explosions in the Sky. And they've put out maybe a couple more. This definitely has Mogwai type vibes, but it also has its own thing going on, which is very cool. And again, kind of dusty and fingerprinty, but I cleaned it up and it turned out great. I will leave a link. I think this is still available on Bandcamp, but if you'd like to hear it, I would suggest that. It's really cool, like ambient rock, I guess, a bit electronic. I just found it engaging and definitely something right up my alley. So really great find for I think $3. So this one was from the $2 discount jazz bin at Music Millennium, which I've also had some great luck in. This is Search for the Floor, the guitars and music of Lenny Carlson. And this came out, I want to say, yeah, 78. And I was intrigued by the back cover. Just looked like it was something quite interesting. This is on Flying High Records. Never heard of that. Great guitar playing. It sounded good too, nice and spacious. And I found he has just one other record after this. And I tried to order it, but I got a message saying it was not available anymore. So I'm going to look for that because I really enjoyed this. And apparently he's been teaching guitar or jazz history for like 25 years. So he hasn't been a recording artist, I guess, for a while. But this was a really nice find. And I really enjoyed it. So definitely going to try to get that other record. And I think on that other record, there's a song that he was nominated for a Grammy for. So this one I ordered online because I hadn't seen it out in the wild yet. And it seemed like it was a little harder to find. But it was a still sealed copy of this album called Future Prospect by Dan Siegel, who I've talked about quite a bit recently. It was from 1987. And I thought this was like a Dan Siegel record called Future Prospect, but I guess Future Prospect is actually a jazz fusion band that he put together. So you'll find it kind of listed as both things. More great jams from Dan Siegel. Really great mix of organic and synth instruments. Mastered by Bernie Grundman. Always great. This is also on a transparent amber vinyl, which I believe is typically Quiet vinyl. And you really got to put a light behind it to see through. I've actually ended up with quite a few records lately that are that kind of vinyl, which is always kind of a surprise. Usually they're amber, sometimes they're kind of bluish, sometimes they're kind of grayish, and it's not always apparent at first look. So, especially records from the 80s, hold them up to the light, you might see something you didn't know was there. So that's all the vinyl for this video. I did want to run down a stack of CDs that I've also acquired the last couple months. The Selden Plan is a band that I kind of stumbled across recently and really enjoyed. They're kind of East Coast indie rock. I don't know, they have a vibe that, I guess to some degree, they remind me of the Dismemberment Plan, and they're also from Baltimore, so that might make a little sense, but it's just really catchy guitar stuff, nice vocals. That one's called The Collective Now. This is Lost and Found and Lost. These both turned out to be printed on CDRs, kind of lo-fi vibes on the packaging, but I ordered both of these online because all their stuff is like on Bandcamp and most of it's on Apple Music and stuff, but they're not complete for some reason. There's some tracks missing. So I went ahead and found some CD copies. Really enjoy that band. I would check them out. I just came across this in a vintage store for $3. This is a Pisces Iscariot from Smashing Pumpkins. I had this on vinyl, but it got pretty valuable and I sold it not too long ago. Although I have seen that being reissued lately. Another one that I sold on vinyl, because it just got too valuable not to, really. One Day as a Lion. It's the one and only, to this date, release from Zach De La Rocha from Rage Against the Machine as the front man, and he plays bass synth. And the drummer, I forget his name, he was in the Mars Volta. Really cool EP. Just really groovy, heavy, but somehow minimalist instrumentation. It's really something. I would definitely check this out. Had to have it on something, so I tracked down a CD. Dan Siegel, again, I came across this newer album. I think it's from 2005 or something, called Departure. That was pretty inexpensive, so I picked that up. And the rest is all Tears for Fears. For some reason, I sold my copy of Seeds of Love quite a while back. And I got this reissue that has 4 bonus tracks. I think this was reissued in '99. I got a promo copy of Saturnine, Marshall, and Lunatic. I don't really know what that title means, but this is kind of a B-Sides Rarities compilation from '96. Got a CD copy of Elemental, one of my favorite Tears for Fears records. Also have it on tape, don't have it on vinyl, really wish I did. And this is Break It Down Again, a single from that album. It's got a couple of B-sides, and it also has an instrumental of Break It Down Again, which is pretty cool. And then I got the new one, The Tipping Point. And I considered getting it on vinyl. I do enjoy the record. Some of it I enjoy quite a bit. A couple of them are, just okay, I think. Overall, it was a great record. But I wasn't going to spend, $25 to get it on vinyl and take the crapshoot on what the quality is and all that. I found a used CD copy, so I went for that. And if I ever find a used vinyl copy that I can actually check out, I'd probably go for that too. It's really cool that they've even put out a new record, finally. And then I didn't even know that this had happened, but Roland put out a solo record in 2000 called Tomcats Screaming Outside. And it's definitely not quite Tears for Fears stuff. It's definitely more electronic and just a different tempo, different vibe from what I've heard. I haven't played the whole thing yet, but I just didn't even know that it was out there. And when I was looking through the used CDs, this was like $4. And I was seeing copies online for like 18, 20, 20, 30. So definitely had to pick that up. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention that I'm in a different location than usual. I'm downstairs. I think it's in the frame. That's my old turntable, my first one that I got like 13, 14 years ago. It's my sister's now, and it lives out here in the living room. Just thought I'd do something a little bit different. I didn't want to like set up the light and all that stuff. In my room upstairs, there's not a lot of, the natural light doesn't travel very far, so I got to use a studio light and stuff. So I just came downstairs by the big window and figured it'd be a little bit easier to knock this out. All right, that's going to be it for this one. Like I said, I've stacked up quite a few more. There's really no shortage to show and tell, so I'll be back again soon to do that. Thanks for watching. Take care. Enjoy your music.
Mister, you've gotta get better. Winter is coming.